Starting off for my army, I've got the Revenant Titan with pulsars. I have 2 units of Guardians. Both are at 15 guys, including Warlocks with Conceal. Both Warlocks have Singing Spears, and both units have missile launchers. For some fun, I am also bringing the Shadow Spectre unit. It's a unit with all the trimmings. I've got a squad of D-Cannons. I have a full unit of Dark Reapers with all the trimmings, and they're led by Morgan Ra. I have a unit of Striking Scorpions led by Karandris, also with all the trimmings. I've got a unit of Warwalkers with two scatter lasers and 4 star cannons. Got a 7-man jet bike squad with a Warlock with Embolden and a Singing Spear and 2 Shrieking Cannons. I've got a Pirate Princess in a Venom with a Shrieking Cannon, and she's got 4 Blade Sworn with her. All of them have fusion pistols with power spears. And then another unit of Corsairs, this one with jump packs, 2 Shrieking Cannons, 2 Flamers, fusion pistol, power sword, and they also have a set of bombs. Then a Nightwing with the Flyer Race upgrade, and a Phoenix Bomber with the Fighter Race upgrade. And lastly, leading the whole force is Eldar Ulthrin. So this force is 4,000 points and has 0 tanks in it.
Onwards to our 4,000 point Demon World Apocalypse throwdown between myself and Fable. I've got my 4,000 points of and Spirit Host, beginning with formation from Imperial Armor, the Spirit Host of the Lost. We got 3 squads of Wraithguard, a Wraith Lord and a Wraithseer. We've got 3 Wasps. They're loaded with scatter lasers, though you can't see that. They're still a work in progress. They've been for quite some time, unfortunately. We've got Dark Eldar allies, an Archon, and a squad of Witches inside a Raider, and a squad of Warriors as well. We've got Farseer, squad of Warp Spiders, 10 strong squad of Howling Banshees with Jane Czar, work in progress as well. We've got 2 squads of Dire Avengers. One of the squads is going into the Wave Serpent, along with a Night Spinner, another Wraith Lord, a Nightwing, and a Revenant with Sonic Lances. And so we begin the game. Deployment is over, and I have bid to gain first turn. I deployed first, and I will go first. Here's my battle line. Everything I can deploy has been deployed. I have several units in reserve, but those are for another time. Meanwhile, Dan has arrayed his forces, as sparse as they may seem. On his side, he's got a makeshift Venom with his Corsair Princess, and a line of Guardians and Dark Reapers. I think I outgot him. Let the games begin. Here we are at the bottom of turn 1. The first player turn. I went, do not mind some of the units that went on. We're kind of in the middle of the bottom of turn 1 at this point, but we're going to go from the top of turn 1. I came on what I had, moved forward. We got Night Fight first turn, and I put down my Sonic Lances, took a bite out of both the Guardian squads, and luckily a piece out of Eldrad as well, with the 1 scatter laser that could fire, or 1 set of scatter lasers from my Wasp Assault Walkers. Everything else moved up. No casualties, thankfully, that I caused on my own. But I did get from the Demon World powers that are already beginning to do some very strange things. I got the chance to deep strike any 1 unit, friend or enemy, at a point in the table, or give him the available opportunity to deep strike. And so I did it with my Banshees and Jane Czar. I put them down over here on this corner, trying to get onto the flank and get an early charge perhaps in turn 2 on his vulnerable support units there. But unfortunately, I put it there and I scattered off the table. So now there is a unit of, well, they look like Guardians, but they're pink horrors. And we'll see if they get a chance to shoot. They probably will because they're rather well protected from the Oathway fire. And we'll see what happens to them after Dan finishes his turn. So back to the game.
The big to-do for my first turn is that I managed to blow up Clay's Revenant. I did it with the first pulsar firing. After that, I managed to strip a hull point from this Wave Serpent. The Corsairs came in over here and they took out 9 of the Dark Eldar that were close by. However, they couldn't finish off the last guy in the unit. And he managed to pass all of his tests. The Scorpions ran up to this Archaeotech, which ended up being a 4-and-up invul for any model within 6 inches. His Farseer has taken 1 wound, but I did wipe out the whole unit that he was accompanying. I stripped this Raider of a single hull point. Not much there, but really I didn't have much I could shoot at it. He placed it really well to block my line of sight to it.
Top of turn 2 is over. At the beginning of the turn, my 2 largest reserves came on. Spirit Host of the Lost with Flank March. Oh, I forgot that they had Flank March, but this was an ideal spot to come on anyways. And I just managed to vaporize the other Titan, so that's it for Super Heavies. Thinned out the Striking Scorpion ranks a little bit. Got 2 squads of 5 Wraith Guard. Lost a couple in the ensuing apocalyptic explosion. And I've got my Wraith Seer, who is also my Warlord, and a Wraith Lord. My Dire Avengers got out, hit the Corsairs that are where the water glass now is. They are now gone. Managed to take out the venom that the Corsair Princess and her Bladesworn bodyguard were in. Thin them out with my Night Spinner. So they are out in the open now. And beyond that, I didn't lose any men, which is very important. Oh, I also shot down the what's it called?
Bomber.
Phoenix Bomber. I was very excited about that because that was the first time I've shot it down with my Nightwing. Unfortunately, it made a beeline as it crashed right for where my witches got out and landed directly on them, killing all but the Archon and the witch squad leader, which are currently pinned at any rate right in front of the pink horrors that look like Guardians. Beyond that, one of the most horrifying things I've ever seen in the history of 40K gaming. A squad of 25 bloodthirsters, or not bloodthirsters, bloodletters spawned next to the primary objective from all the casualties that we'd inflicted in the previous turn. At the end of this turn, when both Fable and myself have gone, they will get to go, and it will be a sight to behold. Bear in mind, the maximum squad size typically for a Bloodletter squad is 20. So that's horrifying. Onwards to the bottom of turn 2. Oh, and on a sub note, on the Demon World effect chart, we rolled the effect that makes everything cause fear. Unfortunately for Dan, I didn't have anything to charge this turn, so it was ineffective.
For my turn, I managed to engage Clay's Nightwing. The result was that I never got to shoot at it, but during the disengage process, I did manage to stop it from being able to shoot or attempt to engage me this turn. So hopefully I can do something with that later on. My bikes took the the objective for this game, so I got a whopping 2 points. And I managed to thin down the Bloodletters with shots from D-Cannons, with shots from my Dark Reapers, Guardians, and then finally charging the squad. I knocked 25 guys down to 4. Over here, I took out one of the Wraith Guard squads, and the other one is down to just 2 models. As you can see, Karandris has just 1 wound left. I don't remember if Clay mentioned it or not, but in the last turn, I took 3 2-and-up wounds on him and managed to fail 2 of them. So he's probably not long for this world. And my Shadow Specters came in, and they managed to do 1. They killed 1 Wraith Guard. That's it.
Top of turn 3 has concluded. The demons strike back. At the conclusion of turn 2, due to the extreme number of casualties we inflicted, we decided not to count demons amongst the casualties inflicted in terms of summoning more demons, because numbers very quickly went out of scale. But still, even not counting demons, we ended up with another 25 squad of lesser demons spawning on the board. This time, the game master put them on the other side of the objective, and they ended up being a squad of 25 strong plague bearers, through which I've thrown the bulk of my assault force in the middle against them. Janezar and the 10 Banshees, Farseer, and the Wraith Lord all went in. And they managed to whittle the unit down to less than half through all their fire, twin flamers, all that sort of thing. They're very resilient. Meanwhile, my Wasp Assault Walkers with rerolls to hit managed to score a penetrating hit that was not saved against Dan's Nightwing. He took a hull point, and he also can only shoot on Snapfire next turn. Meanwhile, my Nightwing could not shoot due to the effects of the dogfight from the previous turn. He managed to get behind the other Nightwing. And Dire Avengers packed up back in the Wave Serpent, heading back towards the objective. And my other flank here, Warp Spiders came in. They deep struck next to the shield generator that was discovered. They took out a couple of the Shadow Specters. And my Wraith units advanced up on the flank. One of the Wraith Lords made it in to the Striking Scorpions, and due to invulnerable saves from the 6-inch barrier, neither of us inflicted any casualties. My Wraithseer did not make it into combat, but he managed to deep six one of the walkers with his Wraith Cannon. No, not Wraith Cannon. D Cannon. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, some more consolidation. Demons still in effect. Over here, Pink Horrors took out some Guardians. The 3 remaining Bloodletters are still engaged with the Corsair Princess. So we move to the bottom of turn 3.
At the end of the 3rd turn, I have managed to clear out the Bloodletters that were here. And I once again engaged Clay in a dogfight and did not shoot his fighter down, though a lot of that is because I simply had ballistic skill 1, so the one chance I did get to shoot at him, it didn't help me, but he can't shoot this turn or attempt to engage me. The jet bikes in the center hold the objective for another turn, so I've chucked up 5 points so far. Managed to do some damage to the Warp Spiders, but not enough. They're still standing around. They didn't fail their break test. That's pretty much it for my turn. On to Clay's turn 4 and more chaos.
Top of turn 4 is over, and the foot slogging continues as I fight my way towards the objective. Cleared it of the jet bike squad, and I picked off the remains of... Oh, no, wait, I didn't pick off the Corsair Princess. She's still there without her shadow field. I took out another War Walker, and 1 Shadow Spectre remains in the cloud, whereas my Dire Avengers are ready to storm the objective. They finished off the... Well, they took out the bulk of the jet bikes. Meanwhile, the swirling melee continues, with the pus-filled Plague Bearers fighting off my Wraith Lord, 10 Howling Banshees, Janezar, and a Farseer. Only 4 are left, though, so the nightmare may end. very soon. There's still single striking Scorpion left in combat with my Wraith Lord. He manages to hang in there and tie me up for another turn. And we are squaring off as the end of the game approaches.
This turn I got to throw around a couple of possession counters, but not many. I managed to take off a Wraith Guard, but I couldn't kill off the Spirit Seer. Clay was really good with his saves. Thanks to the torpedo from the Corsair Princess, I managed to kill off the Wraith Lord and a whole bunch of Dire Avengers who actually need to take a pinning and break test.
Yes.
And outside of that, I reclaimed the objective again, so it's now 9-0. And next is the demon phase. And in the engagement, once again, same result as the previous turns. Clay cannot shoot or engage.
Top of turn 5. This is the final action of our battle for the Webway portal on the Demon World. I have advanced with the remaining forces I have on the Webway objective. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to make it. Only the Warp Spiders made it on, and Dan still controls the objective, whereas my troop units couldn't quite make it over there. I finally finished off the 25 Plague Bearers, and some Pink Horrors still roam the field, as well as an additional set of Pink Horrors there. With the knowledge that Dan has controlled the Webway portal for several turns now, he gained 9 points, 9 victory points. I still have 0. Considering that this is turn 5, he's going to get 5 more. And then if we have a turn 6, I might drive him off, but that likely won't be enough. Certainly won't be enough victory points to secure the game. So I decided, in light of what time it is, to concede the game. So the victory goes to Fable and Craftworld Oathway, and I'm sure we will meet soon again. So another battle, and after a small vacation from our traditional Eldar versus Eldar bashes, we come back with a vengeance.
Yes, yes. This was actually a surprise Apocalypse game. We did not plan this out in advance much, other than that we were going to have a game, and Clay had his Titan, so we figured why the hell not.
Yeah. So we did a 4,000 point siege game, as you probably saw earlier. The exciting thing was using the several rules from the Crusade of Fire campaign book, which I know has gotten some flack for having some issues in terms of the material that you get and the consistency of the book. But there were a lot of ideas in there that I was excited about.
Yes.
Chief of which was the Demon World rules, which we were very eager to get into.
As the game goes on, the more casualties you have changes how powerful the demons are. So in an Apocalypse game, when you have massive casualties right up front, demons become very powerful very quickly.
Yeah. We had squads of 25 lesser demons popping out starting in turn 2. And the maximum squad sizes of the demons are 20, but we decided might as well go for it.
One tweak that we did make, because at one point we finally started attacking the demons, and if we had counted them towards the total, that was a Plague Bearer squad, but there would have been 50. Had we counted the Bloodletters.
Plague Bearers would have been 50.
Would have been 50.
And that would, the Plague Bearers on their own, in a squad of 25 that popped right outside of my deployment zone, that basically, that clinched the game for Dan, basically, because I threw most of my, well, not most of my army, but from what I had left, I threw my entire center at it.
Yeah.
And they got tied up there for half the game.
Yeah. Yeah, and one of the units that actually, I think what Clay was trying to do is get his Banshees back in the game. He had gotten an early deep strike ability from the demon rolls that you make every turn, and because they had a deep strike mishap, I got to place them, and I placed them at the farthest point of the board.
Way in the corner of my deployment zone.
So I assume the initial charge was just to get them back in the game.
Yeah, that was the idea. And I thought with a couple flamers dropping on them, a full squad of Howling Banshees with James R charging them along with the Wraith Lord, I figured I could wipe out most of the squad. Didn't happen. I killed less than half of it. In the end, though, the demons made a huge difference against me because they tanked my raider too.
Yeah.
I had a raider zooming up the left flank at the start of the game, and it had one whole point left after being shot at by Fable's forces. And then some pink horrors dropped down next to it. They shot at the raider and they finished it off, and my unit got pinned after going out of it. And subsequently, it got pinned for the next 2 turns before it was finished off after a fighter landed on it and blew up.
Yeah, the psychic power hallucinate is what was pinning it from a distance, and then when the fighter landed on it, cleared most of them out.
And it cleared just about all of them out. It was very sad. Dark day.
That is actually the first time that I've seen a plane actually land on anyone in the new edition.
Really?
Yeah, I've had the rolls before, but it always misses. Usually I just get the hit and it lands right where it was. So this time was
well, lucky you.
To see that. Well, it was just I've been waiting for it for a while, so you know.
It was a lot of firsts for me. I haven't shot any of Dan's aircraft down in 6th edition yet, and I actually was able to. I found that yes, I will need to take something dedicated in the form of 3 walkers with scatter lasers with rerolls to hit. That seems to be the best way to take care of it on the ground. That was pretty effective when I actually fired.
Yeah. As for the engaging rules, overall, I find them interesting. It's not as easy to shoot down a flyer.
No.
When you're doing it that way.
Which is good, and it keeps them occupied.
Yeah.
So you avoid situations where it's alpha strike and destroy whatever. You can harass other aircraft, really.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. And that was a really big help for you, honestly.
And the ability to get a victory point out of it makes it a huge thing you want to do.
It makes it worthwhile. Yeah.
Yeah. It's difficult, but it's so worth it if you can get that victory point. The other thing about it is the Eldar ones from Forge World are probably going to be really good at it because they have the shrouding.
Yeah.
And you don't get to jink against those attacks.
Yep.
Which in our case never really mattered because
we ended up rolling the same results just about every time. And that was very interesting in the 2 ways that are presented with those the dogfighting tables. This time we rolled them randomly. Next time I'm thinking we might try the other way around. Yeah, the rock paper scissors style, and we'll see where that goes. But either one seems pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Same with how the demons are presented. In general, the scenario rules that are presented in the Crusade of Fire book, they're variable, they're malleable. You can tinker with them, make them work how you want in your game, and it worked out really well for us. I mean, there are a few changes like where we ran into the great numbers of lesser demons. I think next time we might consider the possibility of when you reach a certain threshold with lesser demons, perhaps beyond the max squad size, it might spawn a greater demon.
Yeah, so like 25 guys instead become a greater demon.
Because honestly, 25 guys is better than a greater demon. It becomes ridiculous to a certain point.
And especially since they keep getting better with all the bonuses. And it's hard to have that many spare models around when you're kind of churning through stuff. And one of the first turn options he had was that deep strike thing, and I thought he was going to deep strike his Titan right behind my lines. And
I decided to go the safe route with the Banshees, try and get them ahead to get an early charge advantage.
Really good choice.
It was. I just happened to scatter in the wrong way.
Yeah.
Which brought on a squad of demons, which ended up being the ones that sunk my raider. And my Banshees started in the backfield, so I took one too many risks this game, unfortunately. and it backfired on me somewhat. But the Titans were destroyed fairly quickly, so the game bogged down. It was good because usually what ends up in our Apocalypse games is my Titan dies after a turn of fire, and then Dan's marauds around the map, and I try and play hide and seek with my troops and capture the objectives. One of the other interesting things about this scenario is it's the first one I've seen from Games Workshop, and a lot of people haven't noticed that has the progressive objective count.
Yes, that
Whereas
was cool.
the objectives worth more victory points as the game goes on. The possession counters, they were how they worked were a little vague, and I'm kind of uncertain as to what the pros and cons of certain parts of it are.
It almost seemed like you got them so quickly, and you could strip them so quickly that they almost didn't have much of an effect. It's almost like you should be required to wait at least a turn.
Yeah, because
before you can strip them away.
Because they were a side note. We might do something like that in the future.
Yeah.
We'll fiddle with the rules and see what else we come up with.
Have a third person to play the demons or whatever it is you want to use.
A
third person.
It's much more exciting than just having them drop in and run towards the nearest living thing trying to kill it.
Yeah. I'd highly suggest people try it. Don't be afraid to tweak as many things as you can, like what happens if the demons get a deep strike mishap. If you have a third player who gets to control what happens to them, that's one thing that you have to look into. And
yeah, because one of the methods of demons entering play has them coming off of the objective and scattering off of it. The first chance we had, the demons would have had a mishap. So we decided, being that the rules would be so muddled with mishaps included, we just decided to put it near wherever it was. And then as the game continued, our opinion evolved, and then we had the third player just simply place the demons within 12 inches of the objective where they wanted, then scatter from there. And that definitely reduced the instances of matters where we needed to place demons next to things because they wouldn't fit there.
I finally remembered what the thing I wanted to say was.
Welcome back.
The jet bikes. I moved them onto the main objective in the second turn because I really didn't know what else to do with them. And I thought he was going to wipe them off the objective like instantly.
Then the plague bearers came.
Yeah.
And everything changed.
Yeah. Those plague bearers, they stopped his line from essentially eradicating my jet bikes. So I got 2 turns of them on it, which at that point gave me a near insurmountable lead.
I needed to get on that following turn and get you off and hold on to it and hopefully have a turn 6.
Yep. And then once the third turn hit, at that point it was just too much of a run at that point. But that's what I wanted to mention. The jet bikes, it was a move of near desperation, but I was hoping if it was a tight game, moving them on there early would actually swing the game in my favor at the end.
Careful planning made a huge difference.
Careful planning was the stratagem that I chose, got me on there in turn 1 for reserves. And
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
I forgot
I learned about that from you, actually.
I learned it from you. That's the stratagem of 6th edition, and I've got to say, Eldar jet bikes, MVP of 6th edition.
So far, yeah. Yeah, they're pretty sweet. All right, that's what I wanted. Thank you. I don't like the rules for that unit.